Coming to you live, this is the Alpha Nerds Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Here we are, the Alpha Nerds Guild Podcast, episode 8. I am your host, ABN, and with me is the one and only Benediction, voice of God. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you, buddy. Yourself?
I am doing pretty well. Now, I know Dean and Twiz are a little bit under the weather, so obviously our best wishes go out to them. Make sure you go ahead and hit them up, let them know that you're thinking about them in the guild. Today we got some pretty interesting stuff to talk about. Me and Dean are gonna, let's see, here we go. I'm already screwing it up. We're already screwing it up. I mean, y'all are both across the pond. I mean, what am I gonna say? Today we actually have some pretty cool stuff to talk about. There's been a lot going on. But what have you been up to, Ben? What kind of games have you been playing?
So I've actually been working. I went MIA in Malaysia this weekend as well. But I've been playing a lot of SAO, Fatal Bullet. That it breaks me because there's a lot of stuff in there that should be a lot easier for PC, like the menu systems. You can't use a cursor in any menu. It's all like done keyboard based, which breaks me.
Yeah.
But once you get past that sort of fumbling sort of menu system, the actual game's really good. So I've been getting stuck into that. The only thing that's killed me off it is that I've bought Final Fantasy 15 for the PC. I had it on Xbox about a year ago. As soon as I found out it was coming out on PC, I stopped playing it. And yeah, that's completely just taken over my life at the moment. And it looks, I'm so glad I waited for it as well, because it looks absolutely stunning on PC as well.
Yeah, you got a, what do you got, a 1080 GPU?
Yeah, so I'm rocking the Strix 1080, and that's overclocked to, I think, 2.2 gigahertz as well. So, but even then, I've got a pretty okay system. I've got like a 6900K that's overclocked to 4.4 gigs. And the whole thing's water cooled. It doesn't get over like 45 degrees. But yeah, even then, I'm running 4K, and that's like average settings, and it's in between sort of 57 and 60 FPS. And it takes a lot of whack. I haven't got any of the NVIDIA things activated, like the NVIDIA Hairworks, the grass, or anything else like that. That's all off.
Yeah.
It's giving my PC a serious kick in the nuts.
I can imagine, but I at the same time, I can imagine just on the Xbox One S, it was stunning enough.
Yeah. I think the only thing that bothered me about the Xbox was the anti-aliasing. It was very jaggedy in places. You didn't get the depth of field and that sort of stuff. But on PC, it's just, I wanted to get some screenshots done before the podcast. I'll put them up on the podcast channel later. Looks absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Anyway, I'm going on.
Yeah. I've also been playing SAO Fatal Bullet. I have been enjoying it as well, and I ran into the same issue as you. I started out using my mouse and keyboard. I said, what the hell is going on here? This doesn't feel right. And then I just went ahead and plugged in my Power A Xbox style controller, and it's been smooth sailing ever since. You know, I would like to use a keyboard and mouse, but it's too janky for me. So the controller's doing it good for me.
Issue as well, like if I tab out of the game, once I tab back in, the mouse cursor comes to the front of the game, and it then limits your movement to like 180 degrees.
Oh wow,
it's completely broken. So you have to play in like windowed mode and stuff like that anyway.
Well, this is only the second game in the SAO franchises they brought to the PC. Yeah. Hollow Realization.
I stuck with a keyboard and mouse. Like once I've got past that sort of menu system operation stuff, the keyboard and mouse is actually really good for like the fighting. Just because the whole, mind you do get the auto snap on anyway, so I imagine with the controller it's bad anyway.
Yeah, that's the upside of it. Obviously, I prefer to use a mouse and keyboard when it comes to a first person shooter or an aiming. It's obviously really better for putting a reticle on a target, but with the controller, it gives you that assist mode. So I pretty much just kind of point it in the direction, get it done, and it's pretty smooth. So I like playing it that way. So
yeah, I might give it a go with a controller. I've got my Xbox controller there, so I'll plug that in.
Yeah, it's pretty smooth.
was Devil May Cry. I loved Devil May Cry when I was a kid.
Man,
I bought Devil May Cry 4 on a PC. I thought, oh, okay, brilliant, happy days, and downloaded it, installed it, and everything else like that. And you just can't play it with a keyboard and mouse. Like, it's all the tutorial. It goes right, press X, Y, and Z for yada yada yada. But obviously, you don't know. You have to like memorize the keyboard layout to what it means. It's just so broken. So I was forced to get my controller and plug it in. But
yeah, Devil May Cry is definitely one of my series as well. I bought the Devil May Cry 4 and the prequel sequel, the last generation Devil May Cry. I got that off of Steam on sale, of course. So I'm with you on there. We're tracking like a freight train there. But other than that, I mean, we do have some pretty cool stuff going around. We were talking earlier before the show, and if people haven't been paying attention, there's a game that's come out that y'all probably didn't hear of because I didn't hear about it. It's actually called Super Seducer. That sounds absolutely ridiculous.
That's not my nickname either.
Right. It depends on where you go and what alleyway you're heading into is if you're called that. But apparently this game was supposed to come out for PC and PS4, but apparently Sony said no and will not allow it to be on their marketplace. They have not actually come out and given a formal statement to say why they're not doing this. So the question begs, well, what is this game, right? Well, essentially this guy created a game that's almost like a dating simulator, but using real life people. I mean, if you're military or something, it's kind of like watching a training video almost. It's borderline like that because I've watched some of the gameplay. It basically plays a scene out, stops it, gives you options. You choose the option, and it'll play through it. But then the guy will come back and say, well, hey, you didn't do this correctly. And then you replay it. But for some reason, everyone's freaking out about this game, calling it, disgusting and nasty and all this stuff. And then Sony backed out of it. And so I'm sitting here going, what? I don't understand. Where is that coming from? Because all the mature games we have out right now that we've played over the years, and this is the one we complain about now?
I think like GTA and stuff like that, you're right. But it's such an established franchise that it's proven. Do you know what I mean? So no matter what a few people say to raise a fuss about it, they've already got the market. Whereas a new game coming out, it can be easily sort of stamped out by the liberal agenda. I've played violent games and everything else that I have got more chance of stopping to give someone CPR or looking after someone than I have wanting to rip their head off or shooting a random person. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's all down to your mentality, man. And even then, like Super Seducer, I'm sorry, I don't think you can train people to. You can. I don't know. Everyone's different, man. And I think if you train someone to try and pull a woman or pull a man or whatever you're interested in, you're losing your own identity. It's they matches you. Do you know what I mean? So if you're just like being this generic sort of robot towards women, then the right woman isn't going to get to know the real you. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't know.
My argument here, this would be my argument. We're complaining about this particular game. Now, what does that say about every single person that has seen all 3 of 50 Shades of Grey? I mean, what do we have to say about that? I mean, if we're really going above and beyond to say something like this is offensive and we can't put it, but you can literally on PlayStation, on Sony, you can get on your PlayStation and watch 50 Shades of Grey, which for a storyline like that is way worse than this game.
Yeah. I just think there's too much cotton wool being thrown around at stuff at the moment. Yeah.
Developers are getting scared. That worries me. I don't want developers to be scared. I want them to come up with the absolute craziest ideas. I want them to give me something out of this world, because that's what gives us the games that go down in history.
It's like Mortal Kombat, and that's famous for just over the top, stupid kills, and it's fun, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, exactly. I've never wanted once to pull someone's testicles off and shove them down their throat and whatever else goes on. But it's just a mind-numbing game. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, although as many times as I've been known to be in the yard, throwing my hands forward trying to freeze people and things, or throwing, doing the whole thing from the Mortal Kombat movie, get over here, doing that in the front yard and stuff, looking a little ridiculous, but you can keep your judgments to yourself. So with
I don't judge, man. It's fine.
Run around like it's Halloween every day. But we go a little bit over the top for this kind of stuff. I want the creative juices flowing at all times. I don't care how absolutely ridiculous the game is. I mean, that's why we had like Earthworm Jim's and
what game?
These great games that were just completely out there, and not a normal person would think of this to have a superhero that's literally an earthworm. Or
I think
Shaq Fu. I mean, we had Shaq Fu. Come on, guys.
Yeah. I think it's boiling down to, and you've got BioWare that absolutely destroyed the Mass Effect franchise. You've got Sony putting out games like this. You've got these big corporation businesses that are just too, like you said, too scared to
intellectual freedom.
Rock the boat.
They're afraid to use their intellectual freedom. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
it
might actually be a blessing in disguise, because we're now getting more investment in. I can't even remember the phrase now. Help me out here. We're player-based. We fund player-based funded games. I've just completely had a mind melt.
Player-based MMOs.
Funded games. No, funded games. So you put them out in the market, and it's
Kickstarters. Yeah,
Kickstarter campaigns, and also there's another one I'm trying to think of, but yeah, no, we're getting a lot more games now that are becoming
indies,
market funded by. Well, yeah, not even indies. I mean, there's some decent games that have come out, and they've literally been funded by. Look at is it Star Citizen?
Yep.
Yeah, because we're getting games like that are completely crowdsourced, crowdfunded. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And that looks to me like it's going to be an absolutely phenomenal game. And I think because it's crowdfunded as well, it's already proven that it's going to have the market base there, and it's not going to be scared to do or back off from what it's doing. Because you've got all these labels now that attach to like Sony and stuff like that. I think they're just looking at their share prices more than anything else. So if they have a bit of a negative view, then it can affect the share market negatively, and they're just penny pinching by their sounds of it. Which is a shame, because they've got the money to pour into some massive games like Star Citizen, and that could be up and running by now. But yeah, it's just the world we live in now. So people need to stop crying and ruining it.
Yes, I mean, you'll probably hear me say this all the time. That's why I applaud companies like Nintendo, because they stick to the formula. I mean, the Zelda franchise, the Mario franchise, the Yoshi, everything is exactly the way it first came out. They just keep making it better and better. And no matter what anyone says, they stick to the formula because they know it's as easy as the market. If the demand is there, supply. Just give us the supply. That's it. The rest of these companies are just kind of skipping the demand and just wanting to give supply. Like Mass Effect Andromeda. That's a pretty simple case of that. You have the supply and you're not really making the demand. You're just getting it out for the supply reason. And you don't feel the passion. That's why people are so passionate about Overwatch or something like that, because the game is built with the demand in mind, or the passion, if you will, in mind for the actual player itself. Are they trying to make a profit with it? Absolutely. That's the point. But two things can be true at once. You can have passion for a game and still want to make money from it.
Exactly. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where we end up in sort of 4 or 5 years' time. I think we might get to a point that everything gets blanketed so much that people go, you know what, enough of this, and then we actually get some decent games come back. Maybe this is just going to be a bit of a lull.
Yeah.
But I hope it doesn't even get to that, to be honest.
Yeah, it'll probably be one of those things where it snaps back, where they start playing in, and then the companies that don't change.
Yet, really. I'm not that upset about Super Seducer. That
right.
probably wasn't going to be on my wish list.
Right, absolutely. I thought it was a a very interesting story that Sony would decide to just take a game off of
I know.
for the absolute silliest reason, but then they're still afraid to come out and say why. That's what I also
Yeah.
find funny, because not only are you going to say no, but now you're not even going to tell people why.
I think they're just gone like swept on the carpet. Oh,
Oh, you
walked
didn't.
away. Like, yeah.
Oops. Hey, pushing something in the river. Oh shit, it's gone. I apologize.
So anyway, you said something about the Nintendo Direct come out tomorrow. There's a lot of interest.
Yes. Speaking of Nintendo, tomorrow, pay attention, ladies and gentlemen, because 5 p.m. Eastern time. So do the math. I know we don't have too many math magicians out there, but if you're having issues, ask a friend. They're going to have a 30-minute Nintendo Direct. And this is not a mini, because the last one was a mini in January. And that pretty much covered Labo, cardboard with cardboard. But this one is actually dedicated to the 3DS and the Switch. So the rumors are floating. Everything's out there. Diablo 3 is one of the rumors right now that they're saying they want to bring Diablo 3 over to the Switch. I am all about that life. Give me Diablo 3. Because I have a Switch and I've actually walked out the door and gone somewhere outside of the house and been able to play a AAA game with just that one thing, it turns me into that old guy where I'm holding it and go, man, technology's come such a long way. And, almost sound like Deckard Cain from Diablo. So that's been rumored around. People keep pushing the GTA rumor. I want to believe it, but I can't. There are some confirmed games like the Naruto series, your Dark Souls Remastered, there's a Fire Emblem game, like a fully dedicated, not Fire Emblem Warriors, that's already a thing obviously, but a whole new Fire Emblem game that's kind of like been like Monster Hunter. It's super big on the 3DS, but they want a standalone game on the Switch. And then you still have Pokemon. A full-fledged Pokemon game is in development. Like, there's no rumor there. It's 100% in development, and that's going to wreck people's faces. And it's 30 minutes long. Last time they had a 30-minute one, E3. What are you thinking, Ben? What are you feeling?
It's to be honest, the only Nintendo I had was back in the N64 and the ages of GoldenEye. Now, GoldenEye to me was an amazing game. Just looking through these articles now, I haven't touched Nintendo, and just for the playability of the Switch and the portability, and some of the games are coming out either from a nostalgia point or just like Diablo 3. Diablo 3 is the kind of game that I could actually quite happily take to work, not do any work, and get myself through the day. But if bosses hopefully aren't listening to that. But yeah, there's some awesome stuff coming out on Nintendo Switch, and to be honest, it's not that expensive to have one.
No.
I'm literally a little bit in awe. I'm trying to sort of scroll through as you're bringing stuff up, and the Metroid Prime trilogy looks awesome coming out. The Dragon Ball Z fighter. There's some awesome stuff, and it looks visually stunning as well, which I'm surprised about for a portable system.
Yeah, that was the big thing. I mean, there was so much hype that followed around the Nintendo Switch because of the NVIDIA. Because once everybody found out it was an NVIDIA chipset, the mobile chipset, the Tegra, everybody kind of did the head tilt and was, really? Like, is this about to happen? And a lot of people didn't believe it. A lot of us, to include myself, preferred that Nintendo should have went with the X2 variation, but they stuck with the X1, which, I mean, obviously it's Nintendo. They know how to make a game look polished no matter what.
There might have been power for that, so it's a trade-off between making it last longer.
Yeah, but the downside was the Tegra 2, the X2 actually was more battery efficient with more power. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was because it was already planned this way, and they already had the ball rolling with NVIDIA. They might have not had enough X2s, because before this even came out, they were calling 2 million units within the first year. which
Wow.
is Wii, not Wii U. Those are Wii numbers because obviously Wii was over 100 million sold lifetime sales. So to say 2 million coming off when you just spent 3 or 4 years and only sold 10 million units over like a 3 to 4 year period, and you're calling 2 within the first year. So I'm guessing. I mean, they already broke 10 million, and it's been a year.
That's bad.
It's insane. They blew everything that they wanted to out of the water, and they're only going to.
I think if they carry on the way they're going as well, they're just going to carry on.
It was actually 3 million. Sorry, I'm gonna correct that before people come after me. It's 3 million. Fight me.
But like I said, I haven't touched Nintendo in 17 years, and this is making me want to come back. Really is.
It's really hard to deny it. And it's not just because I'm a fanboy. Like, I own the Wii U, and every time I picked up the Wii U, I felt depressed because it was just such a bad console. As much as I love Nintendo, I hated the Wii U. It was a great concept in the brain, absolutely atrocious execution, and you kind of have when you first bought it, or like when I first got it, I said, man, this is kind of cool. I could take the controller and play it in the next room, but the connection was kind of crappy. The games were super crappy. Nobody wanted to port anything to it, and I didn't get a Zelda, so of course I was infuriated. It took 6 years to get a full console Zelda, so of course I was supremely upset with Nintendo. But they came back and knocked it out of the park. Nobody expected this except for, I mean, there was some of us that said, you know what, this could be a recipe. I'm not going to say I called it or some crap like that, but I mean, this direct could be something. Could be reiterating what they've already got out there. It could be, they could break some news. I mean, I'm always up for that, but because we're in March, I don't know. We only got, 2 months? A little over 2 months before E3. So I don't really think they're going to break any huge news because that's the kind of stuff that you save for E3. I don't know. I'm excited to find out what they're going to talk about, but I'm trying not to hype myself too bad, and then I'll go home crying about it.
And even though it's only a half an hour tidbit, so if you're interested in Nintendo, or even if you've just sort of been poking your head around the corner, I think it's definitely worth something tuning into tomorrow. Like I said, I'm tempted just to, from what I've seen so far, to even just sort of buy a Nintendo again. Especially, I've been wanting to play Breath of the Wild as well for ages. Stupidly, I thought it was available on PC, but it's not. Chris has corrected me. But yeah, no, I'm definitely looking at having a Nintendo again. And even if I'm just going to take it on airplanes and stuff like that while I'm traveling. But
oh yeah, that's probably, it's those scenarios. I mean, that's what they did in their marketing. That was another big thing with the Wii U. Their marketing was bad. Their marketing fell on its face from the get-go. So this time around, when they marketed this thing, they marketed it absolutely perfectly. They hit the target audience. Everybody that watched it said, I know exactly what that does. Versus the Wii U, where everybody said, I have no idea what that does. And I'm planning on, because we just hit the 1 year anniversary of the Switch on the 3rd. So I plan on from this, I'm probably going to redo Breath of the Wild. I'm going to probably stream that from beginning on with a new profile, just because 1 year. So if you're interested, I'll play that for everybody. You got any? What other kind of crap we got going on? Anything that's kind of got your attention?
So I've had my head buried in PUBG and now Final Fantasy. So I've been really blinkered this week, as well as MIA. Yeah, in fact, I've got this amazing app. So it's totally free. It's called Area X. So, like I said, I'm totally blinkered about some things, and I need to catch up on what's going on. Just because there might be games out for like 2 or 3 months, I'll be like, "Oh, where'd you get that from?" So I didn't see it. It's like, so I get this Area X. It's a free app it's on iOS. I imagine why it wouldn't be on Android as well. but they've got the upcoming games, and there are some few games. I'm just flicking through now, and obviously it's got all like the major ones on there, like the Final Fantasies and everything else. But there was Final Fantasy. I just saw again, literally as I was scrolling through chatting to you earlier. Oh, come on.
But yeah, you're talking about Sega Saturn.
Oh yeah, no, this one it covers every single platform, all the way back to like Sega Saturn as well. There we go, Anno 1800. So I know it's a far cry from. That's not a pun either. It's a far cry from PUBG and all the games that I have been playing. I really love my RTS and turnstile games as well. Just for those days where you just like you don't really want to talk to anyone, you just want to sort of switch off and just chill out. Anno 1800. The 2030 one was the latest one, I think, wasn't it? That didn't look all that great, and it got some really bad reviews. However, Anno 1800 looks absolutely stunning, and so I think, judging by people's impressions of it and stuff as well, it's actually going to improve upon 2030, and it'll come out. That's looking at Q4 for 2018. But yeah, that's a few games. But yeah, if you are like me and you're completely tunnel vision sometimes, this Area X is a free app, and it's a great way of keeping up. It definitely keeps me up with what's coming out. I'm gonna put that down now because I'm getting distracted.
Yeah, as we speak, it is currently doing its job.
Yeah, no, it's just there's not a lot else been going on, and I'm being so flat out that I haven't had time to bury myself into anything this week.
Yeah. I mean, they do. I mean, some of the other news that was really going on was the big push right now, or the big kind of population change that's happening right now between PUBG and Fortnite. So you have a lot of guys that are jumping ship from PUBG to Fortnite. I do believe a lot of streamers are playing into that. That's what I think, because when I kind of look at the community as a whole, especially on Twitch and stuff like that, I see a large shift from PUBG to Fortnite, because unfortunately with PUBG you had your server issues early on, your glitches going, even though not everyone understood that this was an early access game. We have to remember who we're dealing with. It was an early access game, however, everyone expected this game to run effectively,
to be polished. Yeah, exactly.
And then when they did go live, it still technically wasn't polished. People started cheating. It started getting out of control, and people just kind of got sick of it and started jumping over to Fortnite. And now we're kind of at this weird place. I don't. What do you think PUBG, Bluehole, the company? What do you think PUBG needs to do in order to get itself right?
I think they're going in the right direction. Everything, they've listened to community. They're getting it done. But there's only so much they can do at a certain amount of time. Now, I've played it since it had like all its major issues, and I play it now, and I'm just like, wow, this is amazing, because I remember what it used to be like. But yeah, there are still some issues left, but they're getting sorted out. The server issues were a massive one. But I mean, all that stuff takes time. You've got a source where you're going to, a station, or you're going to rent them from, or everything else. There's contracts involved. There's all the legality side. It's not just a case of just going down the store and going, right, I'm going to buy some server racks. There's so much involved in doing a large scale move, or getting even the slightest change graphically or anything else. They've done it right, I think. Even with the loot boxes thing, they're still trying to generate revenue so they can carry on improving the game, but they've only made it cosmetic. They haven't made it pay to win, which is, I think, the perfect amalgamation of if you want to put money in the game, then fine, but you're not forced to. I think PUBG's definitely got it, and it's just such a shame that I don't think they were actually prepared for how popular the game was going to be. So they were overwhelmed at the beginning, and they had this tidal wave of popularity, which really sort of took them off their feet. And by the time they got back on their feet, so many people were interested in it and then got annoyed with it, with all the issues, that by the time they got them rectified, they'd already moved over to Fortnite. And which is a lot of shame. I've got a lot of the streamers, like the major streamers out there, they were streaming it. And I think that's probably due to some of its success. But once they moved over, they started then streaming Fortnite instead until PUBG got fixed. But they've ended up sticking with Fortnite. So obviously that's the major thing that's getting streamed at the moment.
Correct.
And a lot of people are sheep. I go to the clothes shop and I buy stuff that I like. Doesn't necessarily have to be a brand name. I just try it on and go, yeah, I think that looks cool. 9 times out of 10 it doesn't, but I think it does, so I don't care. But yeah, I think the same. A lot of people that just follow the majority rather than just playing a game because they enjoy it. And it's such a shame. But then PUBG's still got a massive fan. Fortnite isn't the game for me. I'm not saying it's not the game for me.
Right.
Yeah, it's a bit like Minecraft with guns. Just
right. Yeah, I see that argument. Like I see the arguments on both sides, especially because I'm not too big on either one of them. And it's not because I think they're bad games or anything like that. You know, it's one of those personal preference things that, I mean, it's just like I don't play COD or Battlefield really. It's not that I think they're bad games and I wouldn't have fun. It's just there are other games that'll pique my interest a lot stronger than those games. So, speak of the devil, there it is.
That's the original, man. Absolute.
Yeah, I played all the way till Modern Warfare 3 and then I kind of fell off. But I think with PUBG, it was a double-edged sword by the way they presented the game. Because when you do the early access, like I said, because of the people we're dealing with, that they're thinking in the concept of this is not a beta, because that's essentially what it is. Saying early access is a PC version of saying beta, or I think y'all say beta. Is that how you say it?
Beta. Tomato. I'd say beta. But...
Yeah, right. Yeah, a beta. Then
a beta.
Right, like the spring. But it was an early access game, but everybody was thinking it was a real game. So as far as when I say real, it was a full live. This was the polished version of the game. So they got frustrated with it real quick, and that's what you kind of deal with. It was good because you had a community saying, giving you feedback real time. The downside is everybody's thinking this is the real game. So, it's kind of...
Yeah, but you go back to games that haven't got the financial backing. You go back to games that have got the Blue Hole didn't. So, Mass Effect Andromeda. Look at what an absolute pile of cluster that was.
Correct.
When it released, and yeah, they released patches to fix it, but they had the financial backing and the subject matter knowledge of previous games to make it not broken.
Correct.
Or not as broken as it was. I am not expecting something to be immaculate when it comes out because we're all human and we overlook things. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, to be as broken as that was, for someone to play that game in the department and have their testers and go, oh yeah, that's great. And when it clearly wasn't within the first fight, it wasn't like, oh, we've stumbled across a glitch that.
Right. There's a rock in the wrong place. There's a foot on the dude's face. Like something really silly and simple. No, I mean, it was obviously character animations. It was faces. It was voices. It was pretty much the entire story. Because everybody was saying that obviously the gameplay's fine. When you're out shooting stuff, everything's great. But as soon as you come back and it's trying to immerse yourself in a story, all of a sudden you're met with a train wreck. And in a game like Mass Effect, story is half the game.
Yeah, well, it's more than that to me. I enjoyed the combat, but I love the immersiveness of it. So that's what I think about The Witcher 3, man. The story on that, the combat, so everything, the graphics, the combat, the storyline, all was all done seamlessly. I think
it's that balance.
Yeah, that's pretty the most. Yeah,
it's striking that balance because especially in the RPG realm. With games like Fortnite, PUBG, stuff like that, obviously you don't have that much to add to it. With the RPG, with your Witchers, Breath of the Wild pretty much falls in the same obviously categories with them now, especially with Breath of the Wild. It's gameplay matters, but story matters just as much as gameplay. Because you don't really want to make one bigger than the other, because they work in coalescence with one another.
Yeah, massively.
Just like God of War. God of War is another great version of, yeah, is it a hack and slash? Absolutely. But when you're watching the story and he's climbing on Gaia or jumping off, fighting Hercules, the stories do matter, because it gives you the reason of why you want to kill this person.
It's like John was brought up Rise again last night. Now I played this 2 or 3 years, but when I first played it, I went through it and immediately wanted to replay it because the story was that good, the combat was that good. It was just something fresh and new. But yeah, I just bring it back to PUBG just because they're not an established company like EA or like BioWare or like whoever else.
They're getting steamrolled by the community, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly, and it's such a shame. Hopefully they claw some player base back, or they just sort of like taper off and maintain that sort of player base. Because that's one game that I'd hate to see just get left and forgotten about in 2 or 3 years' time, because I'd still want to play it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Fortnite's a good game, but it's down to individuality as well, man. Do you know what I mean? Some people want an easy, or you can all shoot, just pick up a controller, play a couple of games, put it back down again. I think PUBG takes a little bit more, probably skill. It's a lot more intense.
Correct.
Maybe it's just the whole different demographic of people that are playing it.
It has a lot to do with the consumer. Like the overall consumer player base is the same thing with like Destiny 2 right now. Destiny 2 is getting absolutely hammered because they made the mistake. And once the player base found out their mistakes, they buried it. They just said, okay, we're done. And everyone left. And they're trying everything that they possibly can to get their player base back. And it's sad when people are jumping ship from a game like Destiny 2 that's a sci-fi shooter, and their player base is being absorbed from games like Fortnite and PUBG and Monster Hunter World. Like, how do you jump ship from Destiny 2 to Monster Hunter World? I mean, I would obviously do that. I play both of them, but I'm not indicative of every consumer. Normally, your consumer sticks around certain genres, and normally, in a game like Destiny 2, once you're hooked in, you're hooked in. You play that game for a long time, because it feels like an MMO. But you're losing your player base to a completely different genre.
I'm going to take a moment to slate Destiny 2 a minute. So, I like my old school RTS games like Command & Conquer and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've got Cheat Engine on my computer for when I want to just replay an old game, but then just go stupid with it, put like loads of like credits and stuff on. It's just like a memory access local thing. Close it down, but I think it sits in your system tray. So I've launched Destiny 2. Played it for like a couple of hours, and I bought it for Omni Steve and Mintbint. We were all going to play it together. Anyway, I played it for a couple of hours, happy days. Set it back down. 2 or 3 days later, I pick it back up again, go and play with Steve, and lo and behold, my account's banned. Like, okay,
what?
Why? Yeah. So anyway, this has been going on. Emails back and forth. Trying to get hold of anyone at Bungie is impossible, absolutely impossible. So I've been going through Activision and Blizzard, who is the same company. But yeah, and ended up speaking to a receptionist at Activision, who then got someone to go and contact Bluehole. Bluehole came back and said, "Oh yeah, because you were running a third-party software program on the computer." So okay, and they explained, "Oh yeah, I had this," and it obviously dawned on me that Cheat Engine must have been in the system tray. I think, well, okay, but you've manually investigated that, right? Yeah, all our bans get manually investigated. I'm like, well, it obviously didn't get manually investigated that well, because if you manually investigate it, you'll see that it wasn't actually attached or interfering with Destiny 2 in any way, and my ban's not valid. And they went, no, your ban's staying valid. Well, give me my money back then. And they've just literally refused to give me my money back or even comment on it or look into my ban at all whatsoever.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I spent, I was really gutted as well, because I spent £100 on all the Destiny, the DLC, the pre-order, everything. And that's the second time I got burnt by a pre-order. The first game I bought ever pre-ordered was Mass Effect Andromeda. And I played like 6 hours of it.
Your pre-order life is a struggle.
Yeah, so I just don't buy anything now until it comes out. Apart from Final Fantasy, I pre-ordered that because I'd already paid for it and I already played it, and I knew it was just a
Right. It was only going to be. It's going to be the same game. Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit safer. No, but Destiny. I mean, that's another problem too. You know, Bungie's lost its ability to talk to its fans. You know, they can communicate, but it's they can't execute.
Don't even do that. So they direct you to the forum, and there's literally you get no response. No, there is no one to trying to get anything done. So if you have an issue as a consumer, there is literally no customer support. Zero. I've always rated. I've been a massive Halo fan, like since the dawn of Halo.
Right.
And I've always like spoken Bungie up. Like Bungie have been in a massive company, a part of my life, my childhood. But yeah, their customer support, which I think is a fundamentally important thing in today's society,
absolutely,
it's just non-existent.
What kills me, they're under Activision Blizzard. You have two major powerhouses that, especially on Blizzard's end, like I said, I don't know results may vary, but my experience in the last over 10 years, 13 years, 14 years with Blizzard has always been great. Their customer service is always on point. Because if the game master, the GM you're talking to can't fix it, they'll give you to someone and they fixed it over the years to make it even better, even smoother. How hard is it to go across the hall and be like, oh, hey guys, how do you get your customer service so good? Just ask a simple question. How hard is that? Apparently, it's very hard. I'll go ahead and answer the rhetorical question. Struggle, apparently, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see how all this stuff shakes out. I don't have high hopes for stuff like that. Because normally once they screw it, once they screw the pooch, the consumer base, like nerds and gamers, like we are ruthless. We are absolutely ruthless.
I think I was riding a magical carpet. Mass Effect as well. A lot of it, Mass Effect 3, everyone slated the ending, but I really enjoyed it. But then maybe I was just like rose tinted glasses because I was just in love with the franchise.
Right.
But now I've had that fire sort of pissed on a bit. I don't think I would go and buy another Mass Effect game, just because it's just broken that
trust.
Yeah, no, not even the trust, but that sort of honeymoon period. Everything's just great. It's like really enjoying shit. Yeah, no, it's
everything was great. We were honky dory, and then she turned on me. She betrayed my trust.
Yeah, no, it's cool, man. Like, I am going to play Mass Effect Andromeda at some point, and it's probably going to be another year from now. But I'm going to go back to it and actually complete it. But yeah, it's just been a roller coaster of emotion with me recently with games. I'll just not pre-order anything anymore ever.
Yeah, I'm much more leery about pre-ordering. Even if I pre-order, I'm not even guaranteed to pick it up. Normally, I'll pre-order because they say, "Hey, you get this extra shiny thing in the virtual worlds." Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh, cool. Let me pre-order it."
I'm never gonna wear.
And yeah, you get shiny underwear or a cool
or a weapon
dagger
that lasts you until about level 10, and then you just
exactly. So. Yeah, I mean, because God of War is the same way. The new God of War for PS4 is coming out, and I was sitting there with the GameStop guy. I'm like, "Hey, listen, I need to know what kind of virtual crap you're talking about here, because I don't want, a weapon that's literally going to help me for level 1 and level 1 only." And
that really breaks me about Steam is when you buy Deluxe, like the game, you've got the season pass, and you get the Deluxe edition, you get like the Ultimate Deluxe edition, then the Gold Platinum Lickable Standard Edition, or whatever.
Exactly.
But you try and break it down, and you don't know. You have to Google separately what each
comes in
has.
Yeah,
because you can't just click it on Steam and it goes, "Oh, right, well, you get this." And then
Fatal Bullet was like that.
Like, do I get this? Do I get this season pass?
Yeah, SAO Fatal Bullet was like that. I was struggling looking at what, like, this deluxe edition is more expensive. What am I even getting from this? What is in this?
Yeah. And there's, what was it? That wasn't Half-Life. There was some Oh no, it was a Final Fantasy, like the Final Fantasy 15. If you pre-ordered it, you get like a Half-Life 2 suit and stuff in it. It's like, what?
Yay!
I don't know. I don't know what the bridge of connection there was. Someone might be figure that out for me, but I don't understand the connection between Half-Life and Final Fantasy.
I don't know. I know. But God, what do they say? They're actually talking about God, who's the main character in damn what's the dude's name? The main character in Witcher.
Oh, Geralt.
Yeah,
Sorry.
right. Yeah, they're saying he is supposed to be the special character for Soul Calibur, the upcoming Soul Calibur.
Wow.
So, tell me where the connection is there. Your guess is as good as mine.
Fair enough. Like Ubisoft, like I play a lot of games like Origin. They kind of Division, like Tom Clancy stuff. You get a lot of like crossover from either Rainbow Six or Splinter Cell or Ghost.
But that's all Tom Clancy, so
exactly.
that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes it's all tied in. But yeah, there's some like real weird transitions.
Yeah, Injustice 2, for example. When does Supergirl fight the Ninja Turtles? I mean, don't get me wrong, super fun. I mean,
the only thing I want to play Fortnite for is playing as John Wick.
Right? Yeah. And playing as John Wick. It's why is it? Why is it like this? How did they keep doing this to us? They make silly virtual things, and we want to break down the door, burn things, just to get this stupid virtual thing. It's so weird the way this works. It's Warcraft's been doing it forever. They say, hey, get the collector's edition, you get a pet, and you're like, at first when you first start playing WoW, you're like, I don't need no stupid pet. I'm trying to be like, you're trying to be all macho, but I don't need a stupid pet.
Then they get the achievement things, and you get those like, it's the completionist inside me. It's not necessarily like using it. It's having that completionist OCD thing sorted out. So you get the achievements and you get everything else. Like, right, what else can I do? Right, what else haven't I done?
Yeah, it's a borderline elitist attitude.
But I'll do it in my own day-to-day life. So I'll come in like simple as something like cleaning my room. So like, right, okay, I'll make the bed, strip the bed. Oh, what else can I do? Oh, well, floor needs hoovering, and then you think, right, okay, I'll wipe surfaces down. Okay, well, I'll take everything off the shelves, rearrange the shelves, and then I'll wipe surfaces. It's like it's ongoing.
Yeah. I think I call it borderline elitist only because, for example, you get that collector's edition, whatever, the super shiny sword, or the super cool pet, the mount or whatever, and the first thing you want to do is show it off the entire time, especially if it's a multiplayer game. You're gonna put on whatever piece of armor you just got, whatever emblem you got, whatever game you're playing, whatever cool thing you got. You're gonna show it off. Why? Because now you're special. Yeah. And I do the same thing. I'm not blaming people. All right, don't get me wrong out there. I am not blaming you whatsoever because I do the exact same thing. But it's kind of, for example, I mean, because me and Ben on the same page here. It's just like the anime industry as far as the anime fandom. You have anime fans, and then you have anime elitist fans. So, I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm a weeb. I love anime, but I watch it all dubbed.
It happens. So it's fine.
Hate me for it. But the things I really enjoy the animation as well. So if I find end up reading, I miss the beautiful animation side of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only reason I stick with dub. It's not because I don't want to immerse myself in the true nature of the character, but I enjoy the animation. I've just recently started drawing again just because of anime.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that artistry side of things, not just the storyline. In some cases, it's more about how beautiful the anime is rather than the actual storyline, just because I like the artist detail or anything else like that. But yeah, I have actually started to try and learn Japanese. So one day I'll be actually watching it in Japanese and won't have to worry about having to resubs, but that's going to be a few years from now.
Yeah, I mean, I know I said that poll out there, and I think movies won, as everybody wants the podcast to start talking more about movies and stuff. I guess we'll do that, but I was thinking we might have to, me and you, we might have to do an Alpha Nerds Guild podcast side quest or something, and it'll be nothing but anime. So
Yeah,
I'd be down with that. Like,
I would absolutely get destroyed though as a weeb because there's going to be.
Well, I'm super weeb. So, if you couldn't tell with the anime posters and stuff, but yeah. Well, I mean, we'll look at all that. I mean, if anybody's got anything they want to add, obviously go to the YouTube channel, go on the Facebook Live that we have here, throw in some comments, do whatever we got to do, whatever we talked about today. By all means, because I think we're pretty much done here. Unless you got anything.
Two middle-aged guys just rambling on about just geeky stuff.
Exactly.
It's a shame Todd was with us. It's a shame Dino wasn't with us. I hope you guys get better soon. It's not the same without you.
Yeah, and we miss you, and we love you. And once again, you could find me at ABNMP269 on anything under the sun. That's my gamer tag. That's my whatever. Also, if you do have questions about, and I'm gonna plug this in here, and anybody who wants to say something, you can say something to me in person. You can call me on my phone or something. Just let me know. If you're interested in the United States Army Reserve, I am the Army liaison for the Alpha Nerds Guild. So if you have a question, throw it to me. I'm here to help you, not anything more. And if you want to join the UK Army, run away. But that's fine. But I think me and Ben are probably gonna be on the same wavelength. We're probably both gonna be playing, SAO. I'm probably gonna be playing GTA and other kind of stuff like that. Ben, where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm normally sat in the Alpha Nerds Discord channel anyway. Feel free to hit me up if you want to play some games. I'm up for always some PUBG. I'm playing some SOA hopefully with Chris. But I'll be doing some Final Fantasy 15 at my own time. But feel free, if I'm just on my own playing some Final Fantasy, feel free to jump on a channel with me and go, hey, do you fancy playing some PUBG instead? I'm more than happy to just actually join in with someone else.
Absolutely. But I think that's our show, man. For me and for Ben, this has been the Alpha Nerds Guild Podcast, episode 8. Check us out on Saturday. We are out of here.
See y'all.